PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Kelly. And on this edition, we are going to be discussing the injuries that have been going on with your Vegas Golden Knights. Now, every month during the NHL regular season, we like to do this segment where we like to go and talk and break down and analyze what is going on with your Vegas Golden Knights and who is injured, who's healthy, who's going to come back, who's on IR, who's on long-term IR. This is a monthly show, and this is kind of a monthly segment that we do here on Vegas Hockey Hub. This is going to be a fun show to do here tonight on Vegas Hockey Hub on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. Check out the website and watch all of the shows we have on here. We have about a dozen shows on the network, including Vegas Hockey Hub. Also, go to the YouTube channel and subscribe and like, as it does help out the network and the platform. We also have our social media accounts as well at Vegas Hockey Hub on all major platforms. And follow your host as well, as I am on here at Ian J. Rickelli. So, the injuries for your Vegas Golden Knights, there are a few players who we are going to be discussing and talking about on tonight's episode, kind of giving you a kind of back and forth and a description of what is going on with your Vegas Golden Knights. And the first player we are going to be discussing is someone who got injured very recently for your Vegas Golden Knights. This guy, a bottom six forward, a guy who has been a solid fourth-line center for the Vegas Golden Knights, and that is Nick Waugh. So it was reported during the Vancouver Canucks game that he suffered an undisclosed injury. So he left the game, and he had a little bit of discomfort towards the end of the Vancouver game. It was officially confirmed, and it was reported that he has an undisclosed injury. Now, because of this, the Vegas Golden Knights, they had to have Brendan Brisson get recalled from the Henderson Silver Knights, so he ended up being in his place. Of course, we all see the lineups and everything that's happened in the most recent game. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the injuries for your Vegas Golden Knights. And what this injury really does is limit the production on that center position, because Nick Waugh has been a really good player this season for your Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, he has been a guy who has been everywhere on the lines for your Vegas Golden Knights. This is a Nick Waugh who started out on the fourth line. He's been a consistent guy on the fourth line. But then Jack Eichel gets hurt. He had to take his place in the top line. William Karlsson's gotten hurt in the past. He had to take his place in the second line. If you need someone who you can trust to take over when someone gets injured on the top six, Nick Waugh has done it this year. And he actually did a really solid job back in January and February when it came to when guys were getting hurt and he had to step up and start scoring goals and being a solid contributor on the top six. Now, if you ask your host, Ian Rickelli, I actually say that Nick Waugh shouldn't even be a fourth-line center. In fact, considering the rest of the NHL, there are a handful of teams that I can make an argument he would be a middle six forward. He would be a middle six center in the NHL on a handful of teams elsewhere. But since Vegas has who they have currently on the roster, Nick Waugh has kind of been sent as a fourth-line center. That's where he is being suited and kind of being slotted at this present moment in time. Nick Waugh, currently this season, he has actually done a stellar job so far. He has had 11 goals and 38 points this season for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, he has missed some games. In fact, he has missed about 9 games this year. Once again, because of injuries, they've kind of stockpiled with Nick Waugh over this past year. I don't want anyone to forget this, so I will bring this up just for comparison and just to really establish this. This is not the first time that we have seen Nick Waugh get hurt. In late October, he actually got hurt in a game against the Chicago Blackhawks. And because he got hurt, he actually had to sit out for almost a couple of weeks with your Vegas Golden Knights. So this is the second time this season that Nick Waugh has suffered an injury of some sort with your Vegas Golden Knights. So that is the injury status and the update on Nick Waugh. He will be out for a while with an undisclosed injury to the Vegas Golden Knights. And the second player that we are going to have to mention, because this guy got hurt a while ago and he has not come back, and he is also a vital part of that bottom six, and that is William Carrier. William Carrier, who has been a solid day one guy. He is a original misfit with the Vegas Golden Knights. William Carrier, he has actually been hurt once again, as there was the game that happened between the Nashville Predators, and what happened in that game is that William Carrier suffered an unfortunate injury to his upper body. Now, it was originally speculated that it would be a day-to-day situation, that he would only be out for a couple of games, but obviously it has been a few weeks now since that Nashville game, and William Carrier has not come back. He is not skating up for the Golden Knights. He is not playing for your Vegas Golden Knights. And this is kind of a big situation for the Golden Knights, because William Carrier has been a good bottom six forward for Vegas over the past 7 years. This is a William Carrier that when he's on the ice, he is a contributor. The problem is that William Carrier, 6 goals this season for the Vegas Golden Knights. That sounds good for a fourth line winger. But then when you break it down and really compare William Carrier, it actually is not. Considering he had 16 goals last year for Vegas, and then you have to actually comprehend and really break down the fact that William Carrier, he has been getting hurt more often this season. He got hurt towards the beginning of the season. In fact, around opening night against Seattle, he suffered an upper body injury, and it took him out for a week. Then he had the injury in the beginning of January. And in January, he had an upper body injury, and he would be out for 2 games. And then he actually would then get injured again, and he would be out for a considerable amount of time. In fact, he missed a good amount of games because of an upper body injury. So now, once again, William Carrier being out. So, unfortunately, it just seems like with William Carrier, this is the 3rd time this season that he has suffered an upper body injury. Now, look, hockey is a physical sport. I will be one of the first people to say it. Hockey is the most physical sport that you can play. I mean, just the wear and tear and the grind that it has on your body is absolutely brutal. But for William Carrier, there's no nice way to put this, but when you are on a contract year, when you are a free agent this upcoming season, and you have missed over 35 games this year for the Vegas Golden Knights, when that happens, that means that you are a part-time player. When you've missed that considerable amount of time, all it tells people is that you are not on the ice, you are not skating around, you are not being productive on the bottom six. So even though he is an original misfit, even though people do like him in the locker room, and I guarantee you people do like him, sports is a business. Sports is a economics. I mean, that's really all it is. Sports is a business at the beginning and middle and end. And for William Carrier, a guy who's getting paid about $1.5 million, this is someone who just unfortunately this year, his body is betraying him. He has had not 1, not 2, but 3 different instances of him having upper body injuries. And his injury status currently at this present moment is that he is day to day. So kind of similar to what happened earlier in the year, day to day can mean anything. No, literally, day to day could mean anything in hockey. It can mean that you're going to be out for 1 game. It can mean you could be out for 1 week. It can mean you're going to be out for 1 month. I mean, I've seen day to day end up turning into a situation where day to day almost turns into 2 whole months of being out of the lineup. So for William Carrier, it's just unfortunate to say, but him being an original misfit, people like him here. I get it. But the harsh reality is he has missed a considerable amount of time this year, and he is out once again for your Vegas Golden Knights. So as we are discussing the injuries on the Vegas Golden Knights, I'm your host, Ian Rickelli. This is Vegas Hockey Hub on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. And we talked about the Nick Waugh injury. That was the first injury we discussed. He just got that in one of their most recent games. William Carrier, he got hurt back in the Nashville game. He has been out for a decent amount of time. But there's 2 injuries left to talk about. Oh, yes, there are 2 more injuries we have to discuss here on Vegas Hockey Hub on PRConnectionsRadio.com. And the first one has to be the biggest one. This is a guy who has been the backbone of Vegas at times. This is a player who is beloved by the fan base. This is someone who, when it comes to the organization, he is needed very much by the Vegas Golden Knights, and that would be goaltender Adin Hill. Adin Hill has been out since the Columbus game. Okay, it has been that long since Adin Hill has been on the ice. And I know some people are going to sit there and say, look, injuries happen. Of course they do. I mean, injuries do happen, indeed so. But just to give you a little bit of perspective on the Adin Hill situation, this is a guy who, when he got injured in that game against Columbus, it has been well over 10 games at this point, and Adin Hill is still not back. This is a guy who did suffer that injury. We all know about it. But more importantly, with Adin Hill, it's just an unfortunate situation where Logan Thompson, once again, has had to be the workhorse. You know, Adin Hill has had to be a guy that, because he has gotten injured once again, Thompson has had to start, 4 games in a row. He's had to start 5 out of 6. So, that's what Logan Thompson's had to do. So for Adin Hill to get injured in that Columbus game, it's just unfortunate to say. But for Adin Hill, this is the 3rd time this season that he has had to go down the tunnel and miss time in Vegas. Now, the injury was a lower body injury. Okay, that was the situation. That was the diagnosis there. He had a lower body injury, but the expected return is to be announced. And that's not a great thing to know in hockey. It is not the best knowledge to see that somebody, their return date is to be determined, or their return date is to be announced. Because what that normally means in hockey is that they have no definitive answer on when he is going to come back. There is no solid answer from the Golden Knights organization on when Adin Hill can be coming back. Now, there has been rumors, there has been speculation that Adin Hill will be coming back by the Stanley Cup playoffs. But we have no actual standing evidence from Bruce Cassidy, George McPhee, Kelly McCrimmon. At this point in time, we do not know if Adin Hill will be rejoining the Vegas Golden Knights and will be helping them as they are trying to come back from that situation. So when we're really stopping and breaking down the Adin Hill situation, you really have to stop and ask 2 very important questions on Vegas Hockey Hub. 2 very important questions as, can Logan Thompson be the workhorse for the remainder of the regular season? Can Logan Thompson play every single game for Vegas? Because if Adin Hill's not coming back, do you trust Yuri Patera to be in net? He did a one-off appearance a while ago. We all know that. But for the most part, Logan Thompson has been in net. He has been the steady rock. He has been a workhorse for Vegas. So can you trust the goaltending to get the job done? And the second question is that if Adin Hill comes back, who do you put in net in the Stanley Cup playoffs? It's a question that some people in Vegas don't want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it right now. Who do you trust against Edmonton? how much influence and how much of an impact will it have on the game if Adin Hill is out and Logan Thompson's in? How much of a difference will it be if Logan Thompson's in net and Adin Hill sitting on the bench? Because keep in mind that this happened last year. Last year, Logan Thompson, he got hurt. And then Adin Hill, he got hurt. And because Laurent Brisebois was doing such a good job in net, he was the starter in the first round of the playoffs. In fact, so many people forget that Laurent Brisebois was originally the starting goaltender in the playoffs for your Stanley Cup winning Vegas Golden Knights. It wasn't until Brisebois got hurt against Edmonton that Adin Hill came in, stepped into relief, and bailed out the Golden Knights and helped them win a Stanley Cup championship. So could we be seeing a similar situation here, where you have a guy in Logan Thompson who had such an incredible second half of the year that he has earned the playoff start? Or what about this? Does the Vegas Golden Knights do what only a handful of teams do in the NHL, which is split their goalies in the playoffs? Because we saw with Boston during the Jeremy Swayman, Linus Ullmark era. We have seen before when Carolina, they did that before when they had Freddie Anderson and Antti Raanta. There's been some teams that do believe in that mentality of, you know what, we have two solid goalies, so we're going to swap them out during the playoffs. When it does be decided that Adin Hill comes back, when it is officially announced, now it could be the last week of the regular season, it could be the first week of the playoffs, it could be whenever it is, but when it is decided that Adin Hill is ready and he is going to be ready to come back and be the goaltender for the Vegas Golden Knights, where should the Golden Knights be at that point? Where in the confidence level does Bruce Cassidy, George McPhee, Kelly McCrimmon have when it comes to Logan Thompson and Adin Hill? It's a very important question. Who do you trust in the first round of the playoffs when you are taking on an Edmonton Oilers team where they have Stuart Skinner down the other side of the pipes? All right, Jack Campbell already got tossed out of that conversation. Stuart Skinner is the goaltender in Edmonton. And then you have Connor McDavid, you have Leon Draisaitl, you have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, you have Zach Hyman. Like, there is a good cast of characters over in Edmonton. You have the enforcer / menace himself, Evander Kane. But who are you going to go with? And I'm doing this to the whole panel and everyone watching all around the world. Who do you trust to be in net for your Vegas Golden Knights? Because Logan Thompson's done an incredible job. I mean, shoot, Logan Thompson has been named 3 Stars of the Week by the NHL, not once, but twice this season. Logan Thompson, I will give him credit. I know some people on Twitter don't, and it's very weird. But Logan Thompson has done a stellar job. He has done a fantastic performance in net for your Vegas Golden Knights. So should you reward him with a playoff, with the playoffs there? Should you sit there, if you're the Vegas Golden Knights, and bench Logan Thompson to bring back Adin Hill when he is ready and 100%? Or do you go with the hot hand? Do you go with somebody who has been holding down the fort and holding down the fortress in Vegas? Very important question. And why this needs to happen is because the Vegas Golden Knights have 2 excellent goaltenders, and they both have arguments for being the starting goaltender in the playoffs. So towards the beginning of the show, we talked about Nick Waugh. We discussed how Nick Waugh, he got injured against Vancouver. He's going to be out for an undisclosed amount of time. Hopefully, he comes back soon. You had Adin Hill, who got injured against Columbus. He has been out for a couple of games, and it is not confirmed yet if he is going to be coming back in the regular season, but there's hope that it will be by the playoffs. And then William Carrier, who's been out since the Nashville game a couple of weeks ago, he is actually he is actually listed as day-to-day for your Vegas Golden Knights. And I've saved the very important two for last. Okay, I have saved the two biggest names on the Vegas Golden Knights roster for last. The first one has great news. We know when he's coming back, and he will be a fantastic player to have in Vegas. But the second one, unfortunately, we have no definitive update on when it comes to his injury. So the first one is Tomas Hertl. And with Tomas Hertl, this is a guy they acquired from the San Jose Sharks. He was the big trade deadline acquisition for your Vegas Golden Knights back in March when they did the trade deadline. He was the big story, the big name, the guy that Vegas did get. Now, there was a confirmed report that at the end of March, he would be joining the morning skate. He'd be practicing in a red jersey for your Vegas Golden Knights. Sure enough, their most recent matchup against the Minnesota Wild, he was wearing the red practice jersey, warming up with the Golden Knights organization. That was an actual situation. And then a few days later, when Vancouver was coming into Vegas, Tomas Hertl was in a regular white jersey skating with the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, there was no chance he was going to play against Vancouver. And when it comes to the Arizona Coyotes, of course, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to talk about, is there a chance that he would be starting against the Arizona Coyotes? That is, unfortunately, probably an unlikely situation. But what we do know is there's an important game coming up for Vegas. You have the Vancouver Canucks in Vancouver, and then you have Edmonton in Edmonton. And this is going to be speculation, but this is going to be using my logic and based off of everything that we have been seeing with Tomas Hertl. The speculation is going to be that Tomas Hertl will be back in Vegas. He will be suiting up. He'll be playing for your Vegas Golden Knights by either Vancouver or Edmonton. So that's going to be fantastic news for the Vegas Golden Knights. There's a lot of people who don't know what happened to Tomas Hertl before he joined the Vegas Golden Knights. He had a knee injury, okay? Tomas Hertl, he suffered a knee injury for San Jose. It happened, it actually happened back in February, and he's been out for a while rehabbing, trying to get clear from that knee injury. So for Tomas Hertl, great news for the Vegas Golden Knights. Him wearing the white regular practice jersey, the gray regular practice jersey, and Tomas Hertl is close to suiting up for your Vegas Golden Knights, and that's going to be such a key member to have. He's going to be such a marquee guy for your Vegas Golden Knights. I'm looking forward to seeing how Tomas Hertl does in Vegas after spending all that time in San Jose. And we saved the last player for a reason for last, because he is the most impactful player in Vegas. He is the captain. He is the MVP. He is someone who is a leader in the locker room. And of course, we're talking about Mark Stone. Now, Mark Stone has been out since the Nashville game. Okay? Mark Stone suffered an injury back in late February. So it has been well over it's actually been a month and a half now that Mark Stone has been gone from the Vegas Golden Knights. And I'm just going to say, relatively speaking, the Vegas Golden Knights started rough without him, okay? You lost a certain amount of games after losing Mark Stone. But over the last 10, 11, 12 games, the Vegas Golden Knights have picked up momentum. Over the last 9, 10 games, your Vegas Golden Knights have gotten back to full strength. Your Vegas Golden Knights have found a way to start winning. And oh boy, they have started winning indeed. As your Vegas Golden Knights, they have won 3 straight games. They have won 6 out of their last 7, and they have scored points in 8 of their last 9 games. So overall, an incredible job by Vegas. And how is Mark Stone going to factor into this? Well, Mark Stone has a lacerated spleen, and he is not going to be playing for the rest of the regular season. That's already been confirmed. It's already come out. He is going to miss the remainder of the regular season. But what Tomas Hertl and Mark Stone do have in common is that Mark Stone is expected to come back around playoff time. Now, there is a possibility that he does miss the first round of the playoffs against Edmonton. There's about a 50-50 chance of that happening, and he comes back in the second round. But there's also a possibility that the Vegas Golden Knights bring him back, not at 100%, but around 80, 90% healthy, because the captain being back in the starting lineup is so valuable for your Vegas Golden Knights. So overall, Mark Stone coming back, the regular season, that's done, not going to happen. The first round is about 50-50. But then after the first round, the chances of Mark Stone being in the playoffs, suiting up for your Golden Knights, is a solid 90%. So for Mark Stone, Tomas Hertl, Nick Waugh, William Carrier, and Adin Hill, those are the injuries that are affecting Vegas right here, right now on Vegas Hockey Hub, on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. And as we're getting towards the end of the show here, I do want to pay attention, actually give a shout out real quick to the sponsor of PR Connections Radio, paidperletter.com/Uncle Dan. So if you want to go to this website and you want to be paid per letter, go to the website paidperletter.com and then use the /Uncle Dan to get started. So a fantastic company. We appreciate them being on as a sponsor and helping out PR Connections Radio. So once again, paidperletter.com/Uncle Dan. And we're going to be doing some really solid shows coming up. We are going to be doing another edition of Vegas Golden Knights Prospect Watch, where for this upcoming month, we're going to be breaking down the final moments of the Vegas Golden Knights program as the Henderson Silver Knights are starting to wrap up. The Savannah Ghost Pirates are starting to wrap up. So that Prospect Watch is going to be very insightful, very informational for your Vegas Golden Knights. So that will be our next edition of Prospect Watch. We will have those 5 players where we talk about on every edition of Prospect Watch. A very fun episode. That's going to be coming up soon on Vegas Hockey Hub. And until next time, I'm your host, Ian Kelly. And continue watching Vegas Hockey Hub. Continue watching PR Connections Radio. And until next time, continue watching hockey. Go support junior hockey. And go, Knights, go.